The Walt Disney Company has announced additional layoffs in the lead up to the earnings call in order to boost the stock price. Let's talk about who is being cut here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Mr. Vash Guy, an expert on all things theme parks. But unfortunately, we're not going to be using your theme park knowledge today. We're going to be using your knowledge of business. You don't get to talk about that much, but Vash, you've actually got a pretty good business mind.
Well, I hopefully it's better than the Walt Disney Company right now. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's a really good way to put that. First of all, everybody knows the headline here. You've clicked on the video to understand that the Disney Company is not doing well right now, and therefore they need to do layoffs. Actually, what they're doing is they're trying to boost the stock price. But let's talk about the tragic situation over there at Disney, as they say that their upfront ad sales have climbed 5% from the prior year. Well, that's very interesting here. It seems like Disney ad sales is doing their job in selling products that people maybe are not watching as much as Disney struggles in entertainment. And yet on the flip side of that, yes, that was a little bait and switch there before we get to, no, Disney Entertainment Television lays off 140 with National Geographic heavily impacted. This one by Nelly Andriva from Deadline. Layoffs are underway at Disney Entertainment Television on Wednesday. Roughly 140 people are affected, representing 2% of the total DET workforce. National Geographic is the hardest hit brand with about 60 layoffs. This is not the first time we've heard about National Geographic layoffs, but this is in the television division, which is completely separate from the magazine. It has its storied history, or some 13% of National Geographic staff. Other significantly impacted divisions include ABC-owned television stations, otherwise known as the affiliates, Freeform, the operational side of the Disney Linear Entertainment Network's unscripted marketing and publicity. No teams are being eliminated. So they're intended to continue to fully function here. Not surprisingly, Disney's linear networks are taking the brunt of the staffing cuts, particularly those that do not provide the company's streaming platforms with highly popular originals, such as FX's Shogun or ABC's Grey's Anatomy, that drive viewership and subscriptions. FX's Shogun and The Bear doing pretty good on Hulu there, and they like to brand them as FX, at least at the start. But as we know, The Bear, they dumped the entire season 3 of The Bear onto Hulu in order to say that it was a streaming original and get a little boost there, perhaps at the cost of a lot of advertising dollars that they could have gotten on linear or having some buildup there. The thing that I want to point out here is that National Geographic and, of course, Freeform, those are stations that were not picked up by Spectrum after the Charter Spectrum carriage dispute with Disney, which has obviously been some months ago. Charter and Spectrum, they said that they were not going to pay for cable channels that their subscribers are not interested in. They're tired of subsidizing Disney Plus by paying for linear content that is going to Disney Plus and their subscribers not getting Disney Plus for free. And obviously Disney Plus came with a large bump when Disney gave in, and I think the bump was 7 or 8 million subscribers from the Charter Spectrum deal there. And I want to say of the 18 channels that were originally offered on cable for those customers, it went down to 10. So 8 channels went dark for the second largest cable provider in the United States. Nat Geo's channels being the part of that, and Freeform being part of that. Baby TV, may it rest in peace.
And no surprise about Freeform. I think one of the things I was reading in the trades was, look, Freeform was a channel that was geared towards teens and tweens, and it makes sense when you look at their content lineup. And well, we know that teens are kind of backing off of Disney in a big way, not just cable, which is just completely in the tank, but also too children. I think we were covering it on a previous story on this channel as well, Jonas, that children weren't necessarily engaging with the Disney brand in general. So it makes sense that Freeform would get a little bit of the axe. I believe also too, KMG was also reporting that there were cuts at multiple levels, including maybe Good Morning America and ABC News. So it's I suppose it's time to cut. And unfortunately, this was because Disney went so hard into streaming that not only did they take away capital allocation that would have been allocated towards these channels and put them towards DTC. But you had a severe cannibalization in viewership as well by pushing these different services. So, the people who are most affected by this, it feels almost like you have a bunch of typewriter repairmen on standby when the company is pivoting towards, I don't know, the computer. That's
right.
kind of what it feels like.
I think that's a fair way to put it. Now, you did make an excellent comment here, and I do have a link to back you up here. This is from a Twitter account called Now It's Known, otherwise known as Mac. We got him a lot, him or her. I think it's a him. Always a great source of data. This is Nielsen's The Gauge. When you look at where people are watching television here, cable and broadcast appear to be at about 47.2%. I think they're normalizing here in this range. YouTube main, this means not YouTube TV. YouTube main accounts for 10% of all television viewing. That's even more than Netflix, which represents 8.4%. Right here, Disney Plus is keeping pace with Tubi. Tubi is a free streaming service with ad support on it. Obviously, Hulu still doing well in Prime Video there, but this 10% that's going towards YouTube, that is, of course, not counting Instagram or TikTok or any of the other places that young people do watch things. I think that, and of course, Bob Iger famously said on a recent earnings call that he was surprised to find out that children are watching or playing video games more than they're watching our content. Well, that is not surprising. Yeah. Well, for one, the content's not that good. And two, video games are an excellent way to waste a lot of time. I say waste a lot of time as a person who loves to play video games, probably more than I should here. But I do think that Disney right now is failing to connect with the younger audience and the people that they normally would have brought in. If we look at Disney Junior, that obviously appeals to a certain age. And then Disney XD, their other cable channel, was supposed to pick up from there. And then after that, it was supposed to be Disney Channel itself. And Disney Channel was it used to be a premium channel, and now it's basic cable. And now there's nothing on there that they even care to focus on Disney Plus. And anything that they would focus on from Disney Channel is now being rebranded as a streaming original. Also want to point out that the Descendants, not the Descendants, but Descendants, the Disney brand that is all, Disney kids that are dancers and singers, whatever, and they're all playing the children of Disney villains. They just did a movie called Rise of Red, where they're restarting that franchise up again. And that competed, I do believe it outdid The Acolyte, which is a $200 million Star Wars series. So comparable numbers there. So National Geographic is, as far as Disney Plus is concerned, which is the primary place that people would watch National Geographic outside of the Nat Geo channels, they seem to be very focused on celebrity-driven nature documentaries and putting those on Disney Plus. If it weren't for those, Disney Plus wouldn't have anything to release on most of their content release day, which is Wednesdays. This is one that's been a personal fascination to me for years, that National Geographic has been included in Disney Plus as a kind of an also-ran to try to bolster the streaming service. Disney Junior also eventually puts its stuff on Disney Plus. So there's essentially nothing on Disney Plus. National Geographic could exist if there was a market for this, but it seems like Discovery is eating their lunch as far as that, with Animal Planet and, of course, what you would originally assume would be on Discovery there. I see this as yet another thing that Disney has bought that they either don't understand or don't care about, and so they're going to let it die. Freeform, that pre-existed all of this, that originally was Fox Family, or maybe it was ABC Family. Yeah, it was the Family Channel, and then it was ABC Family. Again, going to that classic cliche of Disney, a new kind of family, which means that they had to leave the word family in there, even though it's not family stuff anymore. And now it's something that has to go away or be lessened so that Disney can save a few pennies in order to appease shareholders. Now, with that being said, if we go over here and look at the stock price, I haven't even looked at this today. And you can maybe know when we're recording this. It's even lower than we thought it was the last time that we were checking it out. It's down to 89.40 right now. And people are trading at a higher rate than they were before. We're about $10 away from where it was when Chapek got walked out the door. Vash, is there anything else that we need to add here as far as how this company is being run? 5% up in ad sales. We can focus on that.
Yeah, 5% up in ad sales. I thought we were going to get a company party, but apparently not. I will say I do have some context, Barry Place 28 being actually one of them, so you can go ahead and see him on T3PO on Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m., by the way. But I was talking to him, and he had contacts within the company, contacts actually outside of the company, and I'll go ahead and divvy those up in a moment. But the context within the company, the mood is very dire. It's not that great. They thought that maybe they were through this kind of layoff round, as you were. I mean, we had 8,000 cuts last year, so people were thinking, okay, now we're looking to be back up. Survive to 25 is definitely a thing. And it was like, okay, we're moving in one direction. Apparently not. On the flip side, Barry Place also had a contact outside of the company who had been part of those 8,000 layoffs. Apparently, I guess the thought process is there's less emphasis being placed right now on the Disney branded product side of the TV business and more emphasis put on the Fox side of the business or the acquisitions that were made during that Fox purchase. And it makes sense. I mean, look, you heard Bob Iger evangelize about Shogun, right? And how it was just doing gangbusters business. That, I believe, is anywhere between like a $250 million show. And again, every single episode is about an hour. And I think there's 10 episodes. I say that because Acolyte, for instance, is every single episode is 30 minutes. That is 8 episodes. And, they spent almost an equivalent on that. And you just look at the disparity and you go, wow, yeah, the quality has really dipped down the Disney side of things, while the FX or Fox stuff has really kind of maintained its quality level. And I don't think Bob Iger is going to be evangelizing about Acolyte anytime soon, but you can kind of see the decisions that Disney has made have put it in this precarious position, and unfortunately, innocent people are most affected.
Yep, and you do bring up the idea here that maybe Disney needs to hire people that don't work for Disney to work on some of their IPs for a little while to see if they happen to do a little bit better. A fascinating idea here. With that being said, if you guys have any comments, we're of course welcome to them. This is one where it's just sad that Disney has put themselves in this position where they have to let go a few more people. We're well past the original 7,000, and we're now gone past 8,000 people laid off since Bob Iger returned to the company. That being said, like this video if you found it helpful, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.